This 2015 SKX007 looks fine on the outside, but inside it's tired. The seals are worn, the movement is aging, and the crystal has taken a beating. So today, we're installing a brand new movement, new gaskets, upgrading to a sapphire crystal. So let's see if this refresh is actually worth it. I'm Dennis, and this is Wheels and Watches DIY. In this episode, we're refreshing this 2015 SKX. We'll disassemble everything, clean everything by hand, install new seals, upgrade the crystal, and transfer everything onto the new movement. At the end, we're going to finish everything with a time graph for testing, so stay tuned until the very end to see the final numbers. So after opening up the back case, we're going to take out the stem. We're going to press that little lever on the side and take the stem out. Let's take the movement out. Isn't it pretty? No moisture, nothing. But you can see a little bit of patina on that loom, which is expected for a watch of this age. All right, let's continue with this assembly. We're gonna cover the dial with a piece of plastic, and we're gonna remove those hands really carefully. If you're not careful, you're definitely gonna damage something. And if you don't protect your dial, you will scratch it. Because the hands are delicate, right away I put them away. Let's take the dial off. I'm using one of my not so good screwdrivers just to get a little bit of space between the dial and the plastic ring, and we'll take the dial off and we'll store it away. Now, here's the calendar works. We're gonna take that little C-clip off in a minute, but for now, let's move on to the case. I'm covering the case with a piece of plastic, and I'm using my Seiko pry knife to take the bezel off. It pops off without any problem at all. Looking on the inside, it is dirty, but this is not the worst SKX I have ever seen as far as dirt is concerned. Now, let's press that crystal out. Using my hand press and the right die, I press it out without any problems at all. Again, I try to, as soon as I take something out, I put those extra parts away so I don't lose them or damage them in the process. Very briefly, I'll show just a demonstration of what I typically do during the cleaning process. I use a combination of a few different things. In this case, I'm starting with just pegwood, and then I'm going to use a brush, and I'm going to repeat the process until most of the big stuff is gone. What you're not going to see on camera is how I put everything through my ultrasonic cleaner and then rinse everything in IPA and dry it. But that's what I typically do. Like I said, this SKX is not as dirty as some of the others I have seen in my life, so this process actually goes fairly fast. Same thing we'll do to this little ring that's responsible, that sits in between the bezel and the case. So now let's fit the new crystal. By the way, there's a little gasket that goes between the case and the crystal, and I bought that with the crystal itself, so just don't forget to install that. And by the way, the press that I'm using, this is a different type of press. It's a screw down press. It allows me to press the crystal nice and even, and I believe that's MKS brand. So now that we're done with that part, let's move on to the next step here. All right, so here we have both new and old movements. And then let's take some of that calendar weekday wheel off. First, we're gonna cover everything with plastic, and we're gonna take off this really tiny C-clip that's holding everything in place. In this case, I like to use something really thin and sharp, like an X-Acto knife or a blade of some sort. Works just fine, but if you have another method that doesn't damage anything, I'd say go for it. We're carefully gonna take that little C-clip off, and we'll put everything away. By the way, there is a little star that's made of plastic that you'll need to take out from the old movement and move it to the new one. Otherwise, your calendar will not work as it should. The weekday will not change. All right. Just comparing the old and new movements. And here you can see me using a piece of Rodico transfer. I'm transferring that little star. Perfect. And now we're gonna put that weekday wheel back. Just making sure here that the star's sitting flush with everything and nothing's poking out. By the way, after you install the C-clip, there is a little lever that you should hook onto those teeth underneath that weekday wheel. Again, if you don't do that, you'll be back to the calendar and you'll have to do it again. So take your time, don't rush. And here you can see me using my not so good tweezers here, and now I just installed a brand new C-clip that came with a brand new movement. And a quick test of the calendar just to make sure that everything works just as it should. And everything looks good. Now let's reinstall that dial. So the dial feet are really delicate. I can tell you that I have broken some in the past, and it's not a lot of fun, especially when you're dealing with vintage watches. So please take care when you're doing that. Some of them are friction fit, some of them use screws. So make sure that when you are taking the dial off, you take a note of how it is secured to the plate. Everything's sitting nice and flush. Putting everything back into the movement holder. Just doing a quick check. And off to the next step. Now we're gonna advance the hands forward. We'll make sure that the date jumps. And after that, I believe we are going to start to install the hands. Now, I did purchase a new tool not too long ago. I have both the handheld manual tools, and I have like a little stand. So in this video, here we go, that's the new tool. In this video, you'll see me using both. The advantage of that little machine that you see there, the little tool, everything's nice and square, and as long as you're using the right tip, you're going to be just fine. I find that it puts the hands on a lot straighter than you would with your manual tool, but again, it's whatever works for you. If you like one over the other, go for it. And you'll see me readjusting the hands a couple of times. This is just my OCD talking. I like my hands to be right on the money. The hour should be right at midnight, and same with the minute hand. So as long as they're pretty close within a few minutes of midnight, I'm totally good with that. Just a side note, the weekday I believe will change a little bit later, a little bit past midnight, so don't be alarmed if you notice that it's changing a bit later. Totally fine. And I do believe I provide side shot kind of at a 45-degree angle showing how this little contraption works. So bear with me after I readjust the hands just a few times. I will say this, the hands took me a while. I've actually cut a lot of the footage out just playing with them. They were just not sitting quite right, and it was really bothering me. So anyway, just a side note. And now we're gonna move to that 45-degree shot. I'll lightly attach the hand, and then using the right attachment, and easy as pie. That's it, it's done. So I really enjoyed that little tool. I think as I get more comfortable using it, I'll be using it more and more. But again, having more than one way of doing things is not a bad idea. And now we're gonna reattach that second hand, and same idea. Just make sure that everything's aligned properly. Just a reminder that the hands are very delicate. The tolerances are really tight, so just take extra precautions when you're working with those. And if you're not in the right state of mind, if you're frustrated, tired, it's probably best to just to put a project down and then come back when you feel a little better. Here we go. The second hand is reinstalled. So far so good. I'm just using my Rotico here just to get some of the debris out. And then I'm not sure if I included this in the video or not, but you'll see me using a special, I guess it's a cleaner slash brush for high-end cameras. And oh, right there it is. It's nice to get the grime, anything off the hands, can give them a little polish. So I figure if it's good enough for high-end cameras, it's good enough for a watch. Cost me maybe 15 bucks. I believe I got it from Amazon, and saved my life a couple of times. All right, so on to the next step. Let's get some seals going. So this set of seals I bought from, I believe it was VTA Australia. I believe Adrian's running that shop, and he's been doing that a long time. He does have really nice products. If you haven't seen his shop, you're into vintage Seiko, go check him out. This is not a promoted thing. I paid my own, paid for the seals with my own money. I just, like I said, I just like his product. He does take a little bit of time to respond to you, but at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. So high quality stuff. I really enjoy his products, and I'll be definitely spending more money at his shop down the road. Okay, so just reinstalled the bezel. There is a little rubber gasket that goes on the inside. And then don't forget that little metal ring that goes between the bezel and the case. Otherwise, your bezel will not rotate properly. And make sure that the little metal ring, the little feet on it, they do go into the two holes. So there's only one way that they go in. Just make sure that they go in properly. They're not pinched. Otherwise, again, you'll be either buying a new ring or trying to fix the one that you bent. So after applying a little bit of grease on those seals, they go in without a hitch. The stem also gets a new seal. I'm not sure why Adrian uses a different color rubber for the back case seal as well as the stem seal, but it seems to be of the right size. This is the first time I'm using this particular seal kit. I've used others in the past, but I found from those that the seal on the crown, on the stem, wasn't great, but so here we are. And this is the finished project. You saw there the numbers were at about 260, and this is, again, this is a brand new movement. I adjusted it one time. I'm gonna let it run for about a day. I'm gonna come back to it, see how the numbers change, if they change. Then I'll do some testing of the automatic works, and that's about it. So all in all, I think this was a fun project. I really like working on these SKX watches. I think as far as value for your money, well, that's up to you to decide if it's worth it or not. For me, it's nostalgic. Yes, there are on the more expensive side, consider what you get out of these watches, but they always have, and always will have, a soft spot in my heart. So for me, it was fun. Was it worth it? I would say yes. Now that we've put new movement, new seals, reassembled everything, this thing will run for years to come without any problems at all. This was Wheels and Watches DIY. My name is Dennis, and stay tuned for the next project. I think the next project for me will be a Seiko Monster from mid-2000s, and that should be a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not done so already, and we'll see you next time.